Well, the holidays are here, and that means the new year is right around the corner. So not only is it a good time to look back at where you came from, but also to look forward at what you want out of this new year. And with a year's worth of blank pages and the world as your oyster, when this pen hits the paper, how do you want your book to sound this time next year? The decision is yours. Hope you guys got to spend some time with friends and family over the holidays, and let me know down in the comments below, what are your guys' video related New Year's resolutions? Mine, definitely to bring you guys content on a more regular basis, and I would also love to do some collab work with other creators on this platform. So if you guys have any ideas for that, definitely let me know. And on a side note, we hit 4,000 subscribers, which is absolutely mind-boggling to me. And I cannot thank you guys enough for all the love and support you've given me. It truly means the world to me. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. So I feel like lighting is definitely one of the unsung heroes of the cinematic world. Sometimes it feels like we get all jacked up on Mountain Dew and camera specs, and we forget about the things that give our image depth and emotion. And don't get me wrong, a good camera will give you a nice sharp image and also really good looking colors, but good lighting will make that image shine. See what I did there? So today I'm gonna take you guys through how I go about setting up my lighting. And a real quick disclaimer for you guys, I am by no means a master of lighting. Go out there, test all this stuff out yourself, figure out what you like, and then build a beautiful house off of that freshly laid foundation. All right, so when I'm trying to figure out my lighting, I normally start off by not thinking about lighting at all, but instead looking at the mood or the emotion that they're going for in that scene, or if they're just trying to make the subject look as good as possible. Because once you understand what they're going for, it's gonna be a lot easier to figure out where you need to put your lights. For instance, if they're going for a bright and cheery look, you're probably gonna wanna front face your lights more so than doing backlighting. And if they're wanting something a little bit more intriguing or moody, you can start moving your lights off to the side of your subject. And this is also just a good place for a nice cinematic looking light. And then if they're going for a spooky or super suspenseful look, you can move those lights all the way around to the back. So you can kind of think of it as the more you move your lights around the side of your subject towards their back, the more dramatic your lighting's gonna be. And the nice part is this works for pretty much any situation. So whether you're shooting a person, a dog, a product, if you think about this before you set up your lights, you're gonna end up with a better looking image. But again, none of these are hard rules, and there's other variables that are gonna play into this. Like if you're shooting outside, backlighting your subject is almost always gonna give you a more flattering image that's not spooky or dark. So make sure you're never afraid to try something different. So after we've had a second to ponder on this and we've decided what mood and emotion we're going for and what's motivating our lights, if there is anything, now it's time to start setting up your lights. Now, I know not everybody has access to a bunch of super fancy lights. If you're looking to get your first light for shooting video, I would highly recommend the Amaranth 60X and a smaller softbox. And then if you can get a smaller little handheld LED light, you're golden. All right, so now I'm gonna show you guys how I go from making something that normally looks like this, look like this, all by the power of lighting. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys how I went about lighting some of the shots from the sequence that you saw at the beginning of this video. For starters, I knew I was gonna be going for a more moodier look, and I also knew that I definitely wanted to use this globe as a practical in some of the shots. Practicals, or lights that are supposed to be in your scene but aren't actually lighting your scene, are the best way to disguise your actual lighting. So they give your viewer's brain a reference for where the light is coming from. And practicals are also the thing that are going to be motivating your real light. And I will tell you what, motivated lighting and thinking about what your lights are motivated by is extremely important because the fastest way to pull your viewer out of a story is to have your lighting not make sense. So I wanted to chime in here real fast because I just glossed over motivated lighting, and it is an extremely important concept. So your lighting does not always have to be motivated by a practical in the shot. Like the next light we're about to set up is actually motivated by either the moon or an outside light coming through a window that's not even actually there. So basically your lighting can be motivated by just about anything, but you just have to make sure that it makes sense in some way for that scene. So for example, if you're shooting in a super dark dungeon and then your subject just has this beautiful bright soft light hitting him coming from pretty much nowhere, that wouldn't really make sense because that light has no motivation. But there are also times where this doesn't really matter as much. Like if you're shooting an interview or something along those lines and you just want to make sure your subject looks as good as possible, then you can kind of take a step back and say, okay, doesn't really matter as much what my light is motivated by. So it's definitely something important, and it's something you want to keep in the back of your mind at all times when you're lighting a scene, but there's going to be times where this matters a lot more than others. And real quick while I got you here, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. It means the world to me. And more importantly than that, please go out and make a nice comment on somebody's video. It only takes a couple of seconds to be nice, and it means a lot. So please go out and do that. And now back to the video. So in this first shot, we have our main light source as the globe, which on its own doesn't produce enough light to actually light up our subject, and it also doesn't produce a nice wrap of light around our subject. So that is where our key light comes in, which I'm using the new Nanlite FS300B. So what I did is I set up our key light on the same side of the globe to get a better wrap of light around our subject. Went ahead and adjusted the color temperature to better match the temperature of the globe, which is very warm. And this gave off the look as though the globe was lighting the scene, when in reality it was a big old key light out of frame. So next I set up the light that you can kind of see in the background, and that was supposed to be kind of like a moon or a street light coming through a window. And I used my Amaran 60X set to a bluish hue with a little pinhole bones mount, and I set up some blinds that I found in the garage. The effect is pretty subtle, but it's enough to not only light up the background, but also give a little bit of separation without being too overpowering. All right, excuse the outfit change, it is a new day. All right, so after we got the two main lights set up, I knew that I wanted to add a rim light to my subject, as though some of the cool light coming through the window was hitting his back. So I grabbed my PavoTube 6C with a grid on it and got that set up on a boom arm. And I got it positioned so it was just hitting my back. And again, this is a very subtle difference, but it does help break our subject away from the background a little bit, and also helps sell that there's a window letting light in. I also really enjoy when you're able to contrast warm and cool colors. When you get it done right, it looks so nice. Just gives that image that little extra spice. So yeah, I really like contrasting warm and cool colors. So then I took a step back to look at the image as a whole, and I didn't really like how dark the hole in the desk was, because that's where our main focal point was going to be. So I decided to grab my other PavoTube and get it set up behind the desk to help brighten up that area. And I probably didn't have to do this, but I think it helps draw the viewer's eyes towards the subject. So I set my PavoTube to a warmer hue and got it turned up enough to where it will brighten up that hole but not overpower the light coming in through our window. And there you have it. That is all the lights that I have set up for this one shot, and the reasons why I have them set that way. So hopefully this helps you guys understand lighting a little bit better and gives you a little bit of insight into motivated lighting. So I promise you guys, if you take a couple of minutes to look at these things before you go into a shoot, not only is everything going to go a lot smoother, but you're also going to end up with a better looking image. And again, never be afraid to think outside of the box and try something new. because you're never gonna know if something will work unless you try it. If you guys have any questions about lighting, please feel free to leave a comment down below and I will do my best to answer those questions. And if you guys haven't checked out Rob Ellis's YouTube channel yet, please go do so. He is a master of lighting and does a really good job of explaining everything. So go check out Rob Ellis's YouTube channel. I've got a lot of really cool filmmaking and video gear related content coming down the line, so keep an eye out for that. And if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing so. I would greatly appreciate it and it means a lot to me, so thank you. Remember to enjoy all of life's random realities. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye now. We had a cat named Terrence. He was a good cat. That's all I have to say about that.